Hello, welcome to part 9 of creating a third person character. Last time we made sure that we could kill our enemy, and our enemy was, I think we created a sphere around him, can't quite remember, a sphere collider around him, so he wouldn't be all up in our grill when we finally started attacking, and we got the attacking system all nice and sorted. So what we're going to do this week is look at implementing a model, replacing this, it's not a sphere, is it, or a cube, our extended cube, our red enemy, or a placeholder. If we're going to use industry language, we're going to replace our placeholder with an actual model. And we're doing this now with the enemy before we do it with the character, because when we look at the character, we're going to kind of take a step back and look at sort of doing blend trees of animations, and we'll do walking to running, aiming, zooming with the aiming, everything like that a bit later on with our main character. But for now, we're going to replace this placeholder with a kind of zombie kind of character. As you've seen, I've done sort of screenshots of for my thumbnail on these series of Resident Evil 4, and that's essentially what kind of effect and kind of look I'm going for. So if I click over to here, I've already downloaded this, but if you want to follow exactly along for what I have done in my tutorials and what I'm going to implement in today, this is what I'm hoping to do, to put in the Mixamo zombie police character, and I've chosen this walking animation here for him and just clicked onto it. I do have other bits and bobs, other videos on sort of using Mixamo, but I don't really want to spend too much time on Mixamo. It is quite easy and simple to kind of use. If you do have your own character, as you can see, you can upload your own character, but if you want to do this, we can click download, and if I want the animation and the model at the same time, I'm going to do with skin. Make sure it's at 60 frames per second, because that's what the standard or default for Unity runs at, and then I'm going to do FBX for Unity, so all the materials pop over and stuff like that, and then I'll click download. So do that, or do whatever kind of character you want to do for your enemy, and then we'll go from there. I'll see if I've actually downloaded into Unity my character. I have an empty downloads folder, so that would suggest I do not. So if we go into here, I'm going to have to go into my files, because I know I've downloaded him somewhere. There we go, there's Derek, and there's the walking animation, so I'm going to add those into there, if that's going to play ball. There we go. Fantastic. Get rid of that. Cool. So at the moment, I'm just going to drag my enemy in here, and let's just zoom in. Whoop, too much. And then essentially, I'm just going to quickly size him up. So he's about the size of this placeholder. Now make things just a bit easier to deal with. Yeah, about there. That seems quite good. If he drops down a bit, yeah, there we go. Cool. Whoop. There we go. So, what's going to do is place him over there. That's brilliant. Cool. So at the moment, we can see that he doesn't have any materials or anything like that. That's fine. We're not going to worry about that. We will add those in. So what I'm going to do is, the most important thing, if you haven't done much animations in or rigging within Unity, especially for bits and pieces from Mixamo, and the most important thing is that your model and your animations are set to, the animation type is set to humanoid. And at the moment, if we, as I've clicked on Derek here, you can see that our animation type is generic. So if I'm going to quickly change that to humanoid and click apply. Cool, and that will switch him around. So I can also click on the Derek animation as well, and as you can see, the walking animation is also set to generic, so I'm going to quickly swap that around back to humanoid and click apply. Cool, lovely. So make sure you do both of those, otherwise you'll have your character kind of sinking into the ground and not animating properly. And that's can become an issue if we're trying to implement everything in. Cool. So let's have a look at getting these materials. I know people do worry about this. So what I'm going to do is, if we look at location, embed materials, that's fine. Import legacy, yeah, that's fine. If we click extract textures, it's asking us where to save these extracted folders. So at the moment I'm just going to stick them downloads. Maybe I could put them in text. Actually, should I put them in textures? Let's put them in textures actually. And then I'm going to click choose that. I'm going to put that into textures like that, and that should download all my textures. Essentially it's like a zip folder, so it's just going to extract the materials from the model. So once those materials have downloaded, as you can see, all those materials will automatically embed onto our model of Derek. Cool, lovely. If you've got another way, sometimes you'll have to drag the materials onto Derek, and there'll be the normal map and the abellio, and I think there might be a specular as well that you might need to add on as well. But if you do it that way, as you can see, they automatically just pop on and you're all done and dusted. Okay, so we sorted out the walking animation, but what we need to do with this walking animation is, if we click on, let's have a look, there it is. No, it's not. Yes, it is. Okay, cool. So one of the things we want is this animation to link straight away with our character. So there will be the initial default state, and we'll have a look at that when we click onto our animator. But the first thing we need to do is, in the project window, I'm going to click on the Derek out walking, import settings, and I'm going to make sure that loop time is set. So that essentially means the animation is going to loop over and over. If I click apply, lovely jubbly. Cool, fantastic. So just clear this. That's good. So that's applied, that's looped. Brilliant. Okay, so the next thing that we need to do is add an animator controller. So if we click onto Derek, we can see that at the moment there is no running controller. There's an avatar, that's perfectly fine. That's what will rig the animation to the T-posed Derek model. So even if you download them separately, like I have done here, that will still work. Don't worry, because it's that avatar that will correctly rig them together. Okay, so under controller, we need to create an animator controller. So what we're going to do, we're just going to do this in downloads. I'm going to right click, go to create, and then we've got an animator controller. If we click onto that, let's name this, because it's called Derek, let's call this Derek controller. Click enter, and then if you click onto Derek here, we can add, click and drag the Derek controller to our animator. So from there, if we are in our hierarchy and clicked onto Derek, if we click our animator tab, you can see we've got any state and entry. So we've now got a controller added to our, I was going to say third person controller, but it's not a third person controller, our enemy. So if you're not sure how to get the animator tab, you go up to window, go to animation, and you can see your animator tab there. That will come out as a separate tab for now, and I've just stuck it on here so it fits and it works. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, if we go into our project tab here, open up downloads, and you can see our walking animation. Again, loop time is already checked, so that's absolutely fine. And I'm going to drag in our walking animation right there. Okay, so our first state, so the first thing our zombie character is going to do is do this walking animation. So if I click play, it should work straight away. They've both been set to humanoid. Fantastic. So there we go. He is moving lovely right there. Would probably re-download that walking, because I want that to be in place and not moving. So that could be an issue. So you shouldn't have it. There we go. We haven't added any other components yet. So as you can see, he's just walking off into the distance. That's fine, but the animation works. what I'm going to do, I'm going to see if this works with the walking, but then I might have to go back onto Mixamo and do the walking in place animation if this doesn't work, but that's fine. I can do a refresher video or anything like that, so get it all done and sorted. Okay, right, let us, so we've got our walking on there. So if we look at our enemy, we can see that we don't need the cube mesh filter and we don't need a mesh renderer because Derek will already have those. So if we close these up, the most important components here are the enemy script, the character controller, the health script, and the sphere collider. So we need to add all of these elements to Derek to get him working and functioning. So let's add let's add the colliders first. So we've got a character collider and a sphere collider. So if we go to Derek, let's add a component and add a character controller. There we go. We'll need to, well, we need to move this, but we'll add our sphere collider first, and then our sphere collider. Cool. So let's quickly change the height of this. I might just quickly turn that sphere collider off because it's getting in the way. Let's reduce the radius. Nice, and then I might change the height down as well. Definitely put that down a little bit more. Cool, that seems to be, let's have a look at that. That seems to be working for me. I can see the grid around here, and that's working around our zombie pretty well. So our sphere collider, let's bring that up on the Y as well. And again, we are going to expand the radius. He's centered already, which is really good. Lovely, so he's got this radius around him. For attacking. Lovely, cool. Let's have a look at that enemy. So we've got to make sure our sphere collider is a trigger. So let's go back to this. Make sure our sphere collider is a trigger. Lovely, lovely. Then we add our enemy script and we add our health system script. Okay. So let's go to enemy AI script and our health system script. There we go. So if we click on enemy, and the settings for that were the speed, enemy speed was currently at 3 and set to chase. Cool, that's fantastic. And our health system was 101 and current health was I think 0. Yep, good, lovely, cool. So then what we're going to do, once we've implemented all that in, let's just make sure there's we didn't do any tags or layers. No, that's fine. Just going to disable that. Click onto Derek. Let's change his speed down to 1. Let's see what that does. And if we go into our game scene and press play, we should have our zombie there we go. He's clicked in and he's following us. Fantastic. So there we go. So as you can see, there is a bit of a weird, if you look at his feet, there is a bit of weird movement there. So I might need to put that animation, do a walking in place animation. So because I think both the animation has movement and obviously he's got this follow animation stuck onto him as well. So you've got two movements placed into there, so I would definitely download the walking in place animation and replace that. So I'll probably do that for the next video, but if we see if we can shoot him, and that's one hit, and there we go, killed him. Okay, fantastic. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. What we'll do next week is implement some animations, a death animation for when we shoot him, and we'll replace that in the script as well. We can set that as a trigger. As well as that, we can get some blood splats as well when we shoot our character. Cool. See you very soon.